Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Minecraft. Today we're going to be making a start on trying to fix our problem with storage, which is still ongoing, by building a shulker farm. Yeah, it's about time we start getting some shulker shells to get shulker boxes, but first of all, ever since we started this world and generated the world, we've been on version 1.21.4. As of the making of this video, Java 1.21.5 has been out for about 3 weeks, and I really want to make use of some of the new features in Spring to Life. Spring to Life gave us some of the new animal variants, the firefly bushes in the swamps, short and tall dry grass which has implications for sheep farms and also our botanical garden project, falling leaf particles, new ambient sounds, lots of new changes. But one of the most underrated changes in my opinion that isn't talked about enough in this update is changes to the simulation distance. So now any block in simulation distance of a player or loaded by another source of chunk loading, such as a chunk loader or an ender pearl, may now receive random ticks instead of just 8 chunks around players. And the examples they give in the patch notes here is that the crops can grow, ice can melt, snow can fall, and cauldrons can be filled. But it also means that, for example, we can have sugarcane farms and chunk load them, and whereas previously in this version of the game, in 1.21.4 and below, we would have to be within 8 chunks for these to receive random ticks and, yeah, be able to grow to the next stage. In the next update, that is no longer the case. So long as these farms are chunk loaded, they can grow their crops and we can... it has a bunch of implications for the technical side of the game. Additionally though, there has also been some world generation changes, along with mainly the firefly bushes and the fallen trees and leaf litter. And next to our quaint little village, pretty much on all sides we have a lot of birch forest, so I really would like to get the leaf litter and the fallen trees here. And then of course the rest of the crops and the flowers which were added in the update, which we can then add to our control panel behind us and start farming in our botanical garden project here. So to get all of these new exciting features, we're going to have to either travel thousands of blocks into ungenerated chunks in the world, or we can delete some of the chunks in our world that are already generated that we don't necessarily use or have anything built in, and allow them to regenerate in 1.21.5, which is what we're going to do here. So we're in a program called MCA Selector. Before doing anything here, we are going to be deleting chunks, so we need to absolutely make sure that we have a backup, which I do. This is a working copy that we're going to update. So I've imported a world, this is the overworld, and around here should be world spawn. You can see the coordinates in the bottom left. So right around here is 0, 0, and this is our quaint little village just off to the east. Storage room should be right around here somewhere. And the botanical garden project should be underneath these paths, and the bee farm is around here somewhere. In fact, we can see that if we change the Y level that this renders at. Yes, down at Y13 you can see some of the infrastructure that we have. This is our storage system. I guess if we go up a little bit further, we should be able to see the botanical garden project. There it is. About Y level 29, and our bee farm is right there. So obviously we do not want to delete these chunks, we want to delete almost everything else. So what we're going to do is make a selection. So Control F brings up this dialog box, and we can say that we want to select everything that we've spent less than 5 minutes in. So every chunk here is going to be selected that we have not spent more than 5 minutes in. And there's a couple of other areas in the world which we do not want to delete, namely the witch farms over here in the swamp, our end portal in the stronghold, which I believe is this one over here, our mesa and desert biomes, which we have connections to as of last episode via the nether. This, I'm not sure what that is. I think that's our jungle, which I've spent a bit of time in, and also underground there as well. This is the trial chamber, which we're not going to delete. This is the ice biome, and then there's an area of swamp here I've spent a bit of time in. So yeah, obviously first and foremost, we do not want to delete the world spawn at all. We do not want this to regenerate because it's going to regenerate with blank, with nothing in it. Just fresh terrain pretty much. Instead of going chunk by chunk, we're actually going to go region by region. So chunks are grouped into regions, which is what these black squares represent. And this is just a collection of chunks. So we are going to zoom out a little and deselect the area around spawn. So 0, 0 is right here. We're going to deselect all of these regions so that we do not delete these chunks. I am also going to deselect the witch spawn regions, so like that. And again, we're just doing this just for safety in case there's any visual artifacts when the terrain generates between the two versions. There shouldn't be, I don't anticipate that. But just to be on the safe side, we're going to deselect also the stronghold. And then also the desert, since there's a portal there, and the mesa. But the rest here, I think I'm confident just to leave as is. Over here is the mangrove swamp, which we also have a portal to. But I know for a fact that we've spent more than 5 minutes in the area where the portal has been built. In fact, you can see it right there. That's our nether portal. And it's not selected that chunk. Maybe I'll also deselect the chunk next to it and the chunk next to that as well. Oh, and then also the ice biome, which I've spent some time in collecting ice, but there's no nether portal out there since I forgot about it last episode. So this is essentially just fresh terrain with a tiny bit of ice missing. So that I'm going to regenerate, so I'm going to select that. But pretty much everything else that's been selected in orange, I think we're safe to delete. There is also this up here, which I believe is the trial chamber, so I may also deselect this in this region. So yeah, again, we have a backup. What we're going to do is go to selection and then delete selected chunks. And yeah, just like that, we're left with these regions of the world full of data. Everything else is blank. And when we visit these chunks, it should generate with the specific version of Minecraft and also according to the seed. So I'm going to go ahead and update my instance and all the mods, and we'll jump into world in the new update and make sure that the world doesn't have any holes in it. Alright, so out with the old and in with the new. We're now in version 1.21.5, and our botanical garden project is still here, which is a good sign. I kind of wish it would have done some of the building for me, because I'm still stuck on this, and so we're going to put this project off for today, despite having access to some of the new flowers. Our village is here, although I kind of wish it wasn't. Every time I come over here, I'm reminded that I need to clean this area up. But not too far from here should be some new chunks, and we should see some wildflowers just off in the distance here. So I believe the region cuts off, yeah, right there it's generating new chunks, you see that? It's a little slow to generate, so all of this should be new terrain. Now what are these called? The firefly bushes? These should give us the particle effects at nighttime. Yeah, the firefly bushes. I'm unsure actually if you can bone meal these, because this is not something I accounted for in our botanical project. Also, I just remembered about the sheep as well. They... Hey. Wait, actually that's a bad example. Here we go, he's gonna eat the grass again. Whenever they're dyed and you shear them, they stay the colour of wool that they have on them, which is pretty nice. Oh, and there's the new particles as well from the leaves. It really is such a tiny feature in the game, but I think it makes all the difference. Look at that. That's awesome. We're gonna make use of that in our base all over the place, I would say. So long as you can get this when you place the leaves, I hope that's the case anyway, I'm not so sure about that. Oh, you can bone meal them. You totally can bone meal them, which means they're farmable. And no shears needed either. Wait, just to double check, we didn't actually account for these, right? No, we didn't. Which means that our control panel might have to grow a little more. I'm not sure in which dimension, because there's not a lot of space left. And there's not a lot of space left for the wiring, but that is a problem for future Threefold. I'm loving some of the new sounds as well for this leaf litter. Oh, and also... Wait, this is the bush as well. Nice. I almost missed that. Also, one thing that you guys don't know how much time I spend... Oh, that's a new wolf as well. I spend so much time trying to balance audio levels because whenever you cut down grass, it used to be like one of the loudest things in the game. And it was so out of balance, but now they've lowered the volume by default. And it's so much nicer. It just feels so much more balanced now. I'm going to save so much time with that, not having to balance the audio manually. It should all feel much more balanced now. Although the elytra is still a little loud, I still feel like I have to turn that down often in videos. Wait, the bushes as well can also be bone mealed? That... Wait, yeah, we need shears for these ones, but... Man, there's... I'm gonna have to completely rebuild our control panel. I really should have been more thorough last time when I was planning this out, because now I'm paying for it, but I'll fix it, don't worry. I'll fix it. So I want to get our storage room organized properly. I want to get the rest of the shulker boxes in these slots here, and I want to be able to actually make use of this space here, which is supposed to be filled with shulker boxes everywhere this terracotta is. It still hasn't seen any use, so I really want to be able to actually, store the items here. Instead of where our mass storage currently is, which is in a big chest monster back here, which is all the building blocks that I've dug out and stored. And I do want to keep all this stuff, of course. We don't want to trash it, but we want to store it appropriately and not like this. So I think we have some boxes here which are like just filled with random junk, which can probably get emptied out. There's a couple of empty boxes here as well. And then we're down to our last remaining 47 shulker shells. This is all that remains of our end dimension trip. All the rest of the boxes are in use in the world somewhere. And by this point we have several shulker monsters which are growing legs. And I do not like this. I want to be organized. Which was the whole reason I tried to rush a storage system. And it didn't really work out since we don't have the shulker shells. So today let's make a start on fixing that and start to farm some shulkers. We'll go out and do some more exploration to find the rest of the flowers needed for this project when we return to it, which will be in the near future because I really want to get more development in this place. But there's some more pressing matters right now. So the shulker farm will be a multi-dimensional based setup, which means a few nether portals, and that means obsidian. Obsidian, as you know, is difficult to break, and at this moment in time I still haven't gone to farm netherite for an extended period of time. Due to the amount of obsidian required for the shulker build though, I thought it might not be a bad idea to go out and get at least some netherite. Guys, can you please let me in that chest? I completely forgot about the smithing template. So this is like the 5th bastion remnant I've been to. And I really need it. I hope it's in that chest, but man, that's a dangerous chest right there. That is a dangerous chest. Let's go for it though. There's a hoglin here. Let's take him out. Another one over there. I want to get the hoglins out of the way. Hey little guy. Okay, I'm gonna pillar up. As soon as we open this chest, they're gonna be mad at us. I think we've got a route. Well, do we have a route out of here though? Minus 690, minus 500. Man, that's so bad. That's so bad. Oh, I did not see the brute there. And of course it's raining. Hey piglin, you shouldn't have that in your hand. That's my axe. I want that thing back. And I've also lost my sword. Oh no, I have my sword. But I think I managed to get the rest of it here. Managed to get most of it back. Where is that piglin? Is he here? Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought. I won that axe back. There we go. Alright, I think we've got it all. The rest should be in the shulker box here. Crisis averted. Okay, I'm just going to go for it this time. It's not even in here. So, another bastion remnant. Alright. We keep searching. We keep searching. According to the wiki, a diamond pickaxe mines obsidian at a rate of 1 every 9.4 seconds. If we upgrade to a netherite pickaxe though, the time to break an obsidian is down to 8.35 seconds. So admittedly it's a very small decrease in mining time per block, but I think it'll all add up. And that doesn't count enchantments either, it's just the base rate. So once I had a few netherite, I upgraded our pickaxe, the very first netherite pickaxe, or netherite tool for that matter, and I made my way out to the end dimension via our new nether ceiling portal link. In the end, we can find all the obsidian we need for this project and more. So I grabbed what was required and started to prep the rest of the materials and area for the rest of the shulker farm build. So I spent a long time testing this farm in 1.21.4, the version that we used to be in, but after the last clip there, I just spent a few more hours testing it in 1.21.5, making sure it all works under the conditions of the new update. And you'll never guess what, it doesn't work reliably anymore. Because of course it doesn't. We're gonna build this farm anyway, and then I'll explain how it all works and why it doesn't work reliably. But there are some workarounds and some things we can do to get at least some shulker shells. It's just unreliable at best. But yeah, as you can see, I've made a start on the nether side here. So there's a nether portion. This side is where the shulkers will be sent from the overworld, and they'll be killed here. And then we'll collect the drops. We're going to have some sort of storage system down here. That portal in front of us takes us to the world spawn. So we're really, really close to world spawn in the nether side anyway. There's basically two conditions that I want to point out for this farm to work properly. Work properly. It doesn't work properly. So it's basically just that you can't build this in a desert biome, but this guy will safely be able to survive here. Right? Right, dude? Not down here. He's going to be up there, annoying all the shulkers and duplicating them all. Hey, we don't need you right now, though. Yeah, so we need to be able to spawn a snow golem, and then this portal needs to start at Y level 144, which we're at. Now, I had some trouble linking this portal with the chunk boundaries and stuff. So this bottom portal here is going to be our chunk loader. We're going to build a chunk loader so that this farm can stay active, and there's an on-off switch right here. I do also want to mention that this is a farm designed by Il Mango. It's a really awesome design when it works. And again, I'll point out the reasons why it doesn't work. It's not his fault. It's not his fault as to why it doesn't work. It's because of the bug that they patched. But yeah, this is an Il Mango design. I took his world download and modified it slightly so that it would at least function somewhat in this version. So I have a light Matica schematic, which I'm just going to follow and use here to build the farm. This is going to be the overworld portion. So there's not actually that much to it, just a bunch of portals and then some extra contraptions here at the top. And then yeah, even on the nether side, in terms of the function side of things, there isn't too much to make it all work and generate a shulker shells, but I want to dress this up and then put a proper storage system on this. Right now the drops are just going to end up in this chest up here, but we're going to want to store them properly and make this all nice. So when you're in the overworld, the coordinates here are multiplied by 8, right? As you probably know. So because this portal is at minus 500 and minus 501, we divide both of those numbers by 8. And that gets us to about minus 62.5. So we're at minus 63 and minus 62. And it's also very important that this portal is built in the same orientation as the one in the overworld. So the face of the portal is south and north. It's quite important that that is the case because the minecart is going to come out in the same orientation and we have to catch it on that rail up there. So whenever you send an entity through a portal, it will load the chunks around it. So we're going to load when the minecarts come through this portal, which is what happens when we turn on the chunk loader and turn on the farm. It's going to load the chunk that it arrives in, so this one here. It's going to also load this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So essentially a 3x3 chunk area is going to be loaded fully. And it'll be the same in the overworld. So long as we build everything within those 3 chunks that the nether portal is received an entity in, then it should all work properly. Even if we're not in the area or in the dimension, we will still be able to farm shulkers, since it relies on the snow golem there, and the shulker in the overworld to generate the shulkers, which I'll explain once all of that's built. But the way that the portal chunk loader here works is, this side is just a way to send minecarts back. It's really on the overworld side that the logic is located. So what happens here, when we switch this on, we send an observer signal up to a hopper clock. This is just a vertical hopper clock, this slice here. And every time there's 16 items in the hopper clock. Yeah, so every few seconds it's going to invert this torch here, pulsing this dispenser, which will send a minecart through the portal on this track. And then it will be grabbed by the other side. So that's why it's very important that we have the coordinates right. It's going to be grabbed by this block here, this rail. And it's going to be facing the same way that it entered the portal. So it's going to be facing north, which is the way that it's inserted into the portal. It will carry its momentum. And then it will join this rail and hit this cactus, where it's picked up by this hopper, sent into this dispenser. And this dispenser just has a comparator, which will pulse. Yeah, just sends the signal around, up through the block, into the dispenser again, and that dispenses it back through the portal. So it's just a way to bounce minecarts between dimensions. There is also a way to load chunks with ender pearls now, but I wanted a way to switch this off. We're going to see here once the timer activates, it's going to send the first minecart. There we go. And it should return here any moment. There it is. And then when the timer expires again, it sends a fresh one. Or when it goes back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so every few seconds it just sends a minecart through and it instantly comes back because of the dispenser on the other side. But yeah, I went with this method so that we could have an on-off switch and we don't have to be throwing ender pearls anywhere. Some of you guys were concerned that I was avoiding the vanilla chunk loaders. That's not the case at all. We're definitely going to make use of these in multiple locations, and it absolutely makes sense to do it on a farm like the Shulker farm. But yeah, I hope that makes sense, the explanation for the chunk loader. Again, I think we have all the resources here. I'm pretty sure we've got everything we need to build this farm. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow the schematic that I have, and then I'll come back and explain why this should work, why it doesn't work, and all the reasons we can get around the problem, at least for the moment. There is a temporary fix and then a more permanent fix, which unfortunately we have to wait for, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and build this and then I'll explain everything and explain my reasons for why we're building this anyway. Okay, so a while later, we have the farm built behind us here. Well, most of it built. But yeah, I'm realizing that this is probably the easy part of this, is getting the blocks placed, despite the fact that there's so many stone buttons here, which was very tedious to place, but it's done. Unless I missed a button somewhere, which is quite likely. Yeah, the buttons are here just to make sure that... Oh, and we have pigmen up there. That is something we do not want. But yeah, the buttons are here just to prevent the shulkers from teleporting outside the farm. We have to make sure that when they duplicate to the side of the glass blocks on the inside so that they can touch the nether portals, which will be in these slots here. So yeah, placing the blocks is the easy part of this. The difficult part of this is going to be getting a shulker in place. I just noticed I am missing a button there. And there. Yeah, we need to get a shulker right in the very middle of this farm, which is going to be, well, not so trivial. Wait, where did I miss that button? It's down on this side, yeah. It's not so trivial to do that because we have to go from the end dimension and then travel about 1,300 blocks away in the end to the first end island. And if you'll remember from episode 1, I did leave a shulker in place for this very reason. In case we built a shulker farm one day, which we now have. Is there any other buttons missing here? Oh, there's one up there as well. So I know that we have some shulkers somewhat nearby. It's about 1,300 blocks away in the end. But getting them here, because we're already 500 blocks from the world spawn here, getting them here is going to be no easy task, which is why we're going to do it next episode. There it is. We're going to do that next episode, but for today we have a bit more configuration on the farm before we start messing with live shulkers. So let's go ahead and make sure all the portals link properly. And then I was also doing some building at our base as well, which I guess I can show you. So let's light this portal and make sure that this links to the middle portal in the nether. Which I'm hoping it doesn't. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. It should have went to this one. We want the shulkers to end up on this portal here, so that they then teleport down to this glass where they're going to be sent into this powdered snow. Which is not so it might be difficult to visualize that. It'll be easier once we have a shulker in here. But importantly, we need the shulkers. Why are these middle ones not linking properly? Okay, this is a problem I did not expect to run into, but let's break this obsidian. And then also break our chunk loading portal at the bottom. And we should be sent through to the middle one now, right? The one with the trapdoors. No, why not? Okay, let's break this one on the nether side. Oh boy. Don't tell me I'm gonna have to rebuild this whole farm. That would be a disaster. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try go through this one again. And we should go to the new one that we just linked inside the farm. Yes, we do. Okay, that is a relief. Okay, let's try to light them all. And then we'll relight the bottom one, and then relight the top one. In that order, let's see if that works. So let's light all these portals first. Okay, that one. Let's get this one here. There was some torches in here because I had a creeper spawn when I was building this farm, which almost ended up in disaster, but you know, it wasn't too bad. Also with this farm, I didn't light it. Also with this farm, we're gonna get pigmen spawning in these portals here, which is the reason we have the walls in place. And the walls are gonna prevent the pigmen from exiting the portal hitbox, which is the only way that they can be teleported away from that block space. So they'll spawn here, but because they can't exit the portal, they can't then begin their cooldown to re-enter the portal and be teleported away. So it's okay if we keep the pigmen here, they're not gonna do any harm inside the farm. The problems start arising when they travel to the nether side, because then they're going to mess with the minecarts and stuff. So we don't want them to go to the nether side of the farm, but so long as they stay here, which they will until they despawn, they shouldn't cause any issues. Yeah, so again, that's why we have the walls in place. There's one. Yeah, as you can see, the walls prevent them from exiting the portal, which means they can't teleport away. Okay, so all of these are lit now. Let's go through one of these and just make sure one more time that all of these re-link to the middle portal. The one with the trapdoors. Okay, that's exactly where we want to be. Nice. Okay, so that one works. Now we need to make sure that the chunk loader at the bottom works, and then this one at the top works as well. So we have... Yeah, let's go through this one. And I'm trapped now. It's not... Man, this is kind of tight in here. But it's supposed to be that way so that the shulkers don't escape. Okay, let's go through this one and make sure we end up at the top slice of the portal. No, we don't. Is that because it's not lit again? Oh boy. Oh no. Okay, let's go up to the top one and make sure that is lit properly. Okay, let's relight this top one and make sure we end up at the top of the farm, i.e. not the one with the trapdoors this time. Yes, we do. Yes, we're at the top portal. That's perfect. And now the bottom one should also work, the chunk loader. What I don't want here is to be sent to the middle of the farm. I'm really hoping that's the case. Okay, let's go through this. Cross your fingers. No! Oh no! Oh no, is this bottom one linked or lit? Or is it... It's not lit. Okay, maybe that's the problem. Okay, let's light the bottom one. Light this one again. Please tell me we end up in the chunk loader one. Yes, we do. Okay. So that should be all the portals linked now, that they're all lit. I went through all the portals one more time just to make sure they were all linked, and everything seemed to work properly, but I'm not 100% confident on that, so I guess we're going to find out next episode when all the shulkers are all over the place. But yeah, I left my redstone box here somewhere, and as you can see back here at the Botanical Garden project, I done a bit more building. Right after I built the farm, I came back here and just spent a few hours trying to refine the design here and tried a bunch of ideas just to see what would stick. But yeah, I started developing this aquarium idea, so we're gonna have some axolotls or maybe tropical fish or both in this space. I still have to like finalize it, but yeah, I tried a bunch more flora here in the control panel side of things. And I also got 2 more farms up here, which is where the redstone box should be. Yeah, there. Wait, is that it? That's it. Yes, perfect. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so I added 2 more farms here. So the twisting vines and the nether vines, or weeping vines, I think they're called. Something like that. Yeah, so it's just 2 more bone meal farms here, which are not fully plugged in yet. We just have the dispensers and the observers here, but we still have to run the redstone lines back to the control panel, which I'll do at another stage because that's a lot of digging. We need to get around this geode and then connect somewhere over there. But yeah, the input lines are at least hooked up, so when we send a signal to here, we just bone meal the block underneath or the block on top, and the piston breaks the items. And because the soul sand is less than a block tall, we can have some hoppers underneath into a dropper, which drops the items into some water streams, and that flows into the original water stream that we have, and then over the top of our item fillers here. So yeah, again, on the building front, I just tried a bunch of ideas just to see what would stick. I ended up putting walls in this place after all because I felt like it needed some structure. Because it's such a large space, right? We kind of need some ceiling to floor supports, so I feel like the walls really help in that regard. So yeah, I added some glass here on the side just to keep the open feel somewhat, so we can kind of get a little peek down in there at the control panel. And from this side we can see the nether farms, which I think is quite nice. It's on like the diagonal. Again, just to keep things nice and Von Sway and interesting. Although I did feel like towards the end of building, I was getting a little bit grid-like and squared off, which I was trying to avoid. So yeah, you know, it's a work in progress still. There's still more development left to do in this and more farms to add. But again, we'll revisit this at a later stage. I didn't anticipate doing more building on the botanical project, but I just thought, you know, I had some spare time. I might as well just try out some ideas, and I kind of got hooked. But yeah, back to the shulker farm here. So I think we got all the portals linked together. I went to get the redstone box, and I have to place that wall back again. I went to get the redstone box so that we can prevent the pigmen from spawning in this middle portal, or in the top portal, because we do not want them to end up... Where's the missing wall block? We do not want them to end up spawning in that one. In these bottom ones, as I said, it's fine, because they can't exit the portal to re-enter the portal. So we can remove all this as well. But in the top one, that is not the case. And we're going to have minecarts going through the top one, which is actually, funny enough, the reason why the farm is broken. But we'll get onto that. Oh no! What are the chances I'm able to land on that block? Let's see. But yeah, we cannot afford any pigmen in this portal up here. So what we're going to do is have armor stands in the portal to prevent the pigmen from spawning. But it should still allow the shulkers to teleport. So I want to do... well, we're going to have to do some dispensers. Since if we place the armor stands, they're going to break. I'm probably going to lose this as well. Let me place some temporary blocks. Place the shulker. Okay, we need 2 dispensers. I need the armor stands, which are... I left the armor stands. I know exactly where they are. They're in this chest in the overworld side. They should be in one of these... Yeah, I started putting together a little care package for next episode to transport the shulker, because, yeah, it's going to involve a lot of rail and probably also a flying machine, which is going to be fun. I'm thinking that's probably going to be the best way to do it. But again, we'll look at that next time. So yeah, we should have some armor stands in here. Did I not leave them in here? Yeah, they're in this shulker. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we need to get our dispensers facing the portal. So we need to place one here. And then also one here, which is not going to be very easy. Maybe I'm going to have to break this portal first. And again, make sure that we button it up to to prevent the shulkers from teleporting. Again, I probably missed a button somewhere, but we'll find out next time when we have shulkers all over the place. Okay, so let's relight the portal. And then we'll do armor stand, and then some buttons. Do I still have buttons on me? Yes, I do. Okay, so armor stand, that sends it through. Yeah, that should have sent it to the overworld side. That should have sent that should have sent it to the overworld side. I was gonna say let's go verify, but fortunately we're right here. Man, we had so many unfortunate events this episode. Well, that wasn't unfortunate. That was just a skill issue. But yeah, in the Bastion Remnant, I kind of forgot to mention. I was in the Bastion Remnants for, I think it was 4 hours, and it ended up being 9 Bastion Remnants I was in. But yeah, that death in the Bastion Remnant due to that Piglin Brute earlier, that was a very costly death in terms of time. I lost so much time doing that. But anyway, we should now see armor stands in... Wait, the overworld side. I'm all disorientated here. Let's not fall to our death again. I think I got everything. 2 more dispensers here on the overworld side, if I can place it properly. I already got this one placed, but I need to get one here. Maybe against a block is easier. Like that. Yes, perfect. So armor stand in this one, and that should send it to the nether side as well. So now we have 2 armor stands in this portal, and then 2 armor stands in the nether side portal. And that should be all the configuration we need for this farm, honestly. Besides the shulker, of course, which is going to be an ordeal. I can already tell we're going to have so many issues getting the shulker here, but it's going to be so much fun. And then, yeah, 2 more armor stands. Yeah, 2 more armor stands here. Perfect. Okay, let's make sure this is all spawn-proof again. All the buttons in place. I think so. Let's not forget our redstone box. And yeah, I think for now we are done with the initial setup and configuration for this farm. I'm really hoping that the portals link properly when we have the shulkers in place, because that is going to be a nightmare if not. Final thing we have to do is fill the system full of minecarts. And funny enough, this is actually the part that broke in this version because of the way that portals interact with minecarts. But I'll explain that actually next episode once the shulkers are in place. I think it's going to be easier to see that way. So yeah, for now this should be enough minecarts for us to get started. It might turn out that we're not using this to begin with in this version until we update our instance. But yeah, I think for now we have all the basic configuration and things in place to get the shulker here. So yeah, that's going to conclude this episode. This is all the stuff we got from the Bastion Remnant. At least most of it. I didn't grab a lot of it because of inventory restrictions, inventory space, but there's some decent stuff in here. This is soul speed, which is pretty nice. Lots of gold, which we can use for more power drill for the shulker next time, and then of course the smithing template, which we should really duplicate. Yeah, it's pretty expensive, but you can duplicate it once you have one. So this is the way that you can get more netherite now. Actually, let's make a couple. Let's keep a backup maybe in here somewhere. Oh, and also I finally put 2 and 2 together as to why there's a witch in here with this villager. You guys remember this from... They're still in there arguing. I was preparing to move the shulker, making some potions in this, next to where we have our clerics. And I came in here to brew the potions here, and we got more troublemakers in the back. In fact, there's 4 of them here and then 4 on the other side. So... yeah, I guess we lost some trades. Honestly, not ideal, but I guess it's also another skill issue. I really should have had some lightning rods to prevent lightning, which I think is what happened. I mean, that's the only explanation. The lightning struck and converted the villagers into witches. So let's place some of these around to stop us losing anymore, I'm going to have to clean up this mess. And I don't know if I'm going to replace the villagers or not, because eventually we're going to move all the villagers from here. But anyways, for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode in 3 Plays Minecraft.